In this special report of Behind the Menu, I follow a massive rate hike for restaurants and bars throughout the state. It's the rise in liquor liability costs imposed by the state that has skyrocketed over the past 3 years and more so in the last few months. Restaurant and bar owners and other venue managers say if change doesn't come soon, it could devastate business on the Grand Strand. Hypothetically, if someone goes to a handful of establishments throughout the day, along the way decides to go to brunch and has one single mimosa at brunch, then that person carries on with the day, bar hopping some more to making a final stop and having multiple drinks at a bar. So is the restaurant that served that one mimosa at brunch just as liable as the last establishment that served them, let's say, 8 drinks before getting behind the wheel? Currently in South Carolina, the answer is yes.
And we want to make sure that when these things happen, that the responsibility is going to lie with the guilty party, not just a smattering of businesses that could be liable.
And while some businesses may settle outside of court, there may be an establishment
That served somebody one mimosa at breakfast and they're still on the hook for that entire minimum amount.
in South Carolina. That minimum is a $1 million policy. In 2017, state legislators passed a law requiring establishments with liquor licenses to purchase at least $1 million worth of liquor liability coverage. This legislation was passed in response to an incident where a drunk driver without insurance left a bar, which also did not have insurance, and the driver crashed into a Dillon police officer, ultimately causing devastating injuries. And in the past year or so, businesses are experiencing a major spike in the premium.
Really caused a lot of hardship on local bars and restaurants. Significant cost. You make 50 cents on a canned beer and you got to give everything away at the end of the day.
Owner of Route 17 Roadhouse in Myrtle Beach, Bubba Owen, says this year the cost has tripled. And that's without being hit with any claims.
I know some places here in Myrtle Beach is $45,000 a year just for liquor liability. And it's just, now these riders are not writing no more.
As a new problem is also arising.
I've been called probably in the last 3 weeks about where I might get my insurance. And I was sharing a company with a lot of people, and that company has gone double on us, and they quit writing some policies.
Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association Executive Director Victoria Tobin says the number of insurance carriers for hospitality businesses has definitely decreased.
There used to be, I think, over 30 carriers that were writing policies in South Carolina. It is now less than 10, probably closer to 5.
And it's not just places with large bars. There's roughly 2,000 restaurants, 425 hotels, and 90 championship golf courses that add to the Grand Strand's hospitality industry. Mix in clubs or concert venues, if any serve alcohol. Even if it's only 6 seats at its bar, like here at Dayton House Resorts, well, they too must pay a cost.
The plight of restaurants and hotels needs to be taken seriously. And it's not just a restaurant and hotel issue. It is an entire state issue.
Dayton House Resort has been open since 1970. Managing Director Paul Garcia says for this property in the last 12 months, it's experienced a 220% rate increase.
That's not sharing with you what the other years have been. And in the other years, all of a sudden we had to change companies because they wouldn't insure us. The initial one wouldn't insure us. For what? For no reason.
Working in tighter margins, Garcia says, like many others in the industry, it's been crippling and crushing to the point many cannot afford the growing costs and have had to change their business models, or worse, close its doors.
There's no ceiling to this unless we take action, and we take action immediately.
Now, legislation was introduced in Columbia early this year to amend the law. However, there's been little to no movement, and the legislature is not back in session until next year. In the meantime, the industry shares this message to lawmakers.
Help us. Help us all you can, because it's bad. It's really bad.
I would share with them that it is critical for South Carolina. We are pro-business, pro-employee. We've always been that. There has to be a way that they can meet and protect the customer and protect the businesses and the citizens, they need to do something immediately.
Come the new year, all eyes will be on that legislation in hopes of finding a common ground that everyone can hoist a toast to.